Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj, and the preseason is underway, and now that we have basketball games to watch, we have stuff to talk about, like stuff that's actually happening, and last night was the first time we got to see the 2017-18 Los Angeles Lakers in action, among a few other teams. The Timberwolves also played, the Warriors and the Nuggets, they played as well, but I think the Lakers are one of the most intriguing teams heading into 2017. And I'm not only talking about Lonzo Ball, because as we all know, Lonzo Ball has so much hype behind his name. He is a player that everybody knows at this point. He's a guy that it's like everybody's watching. Everyone's trying to see, is this guy going to be the real deal? And, preseason, we saw him for the first time against NBA players. He had, I think, like 5, 8, and 7. I think that was his stat line. But, it's preseason. It doesn't really matter. We're not counting these games. So everything that we see, we're not trying to jump to conclusions about it just because it's like, well, we want to see them against these real NBA players, but in a game that counts. And, obviously, I don't think anyone's really playing as hard as they can. From what we're seeing, we can, we have stuff to talk about. And I think it's very interesting because this LA Lakers team is, we've seen them the last few years. We've seen them in the very end of Kobe's career. And then last year, of course, a decent start, but they still ended up near the bottom of the West. In this video, we're going to be talking about the chances that this team gets into the playoffs, or maybe in a few years, maybe next year. But I think it's something to talk about because of the fact that you have a few pieces here in LA that we can start talking about. Brandon Ingram is a guy that, while he didn't have the most promising rookie season, he's just one of those players who it really seems like he's going to make a jump. He's one of those guys that we've heard so many times, like, we're going to see Brandon Ingram be a lot better next year. And also, the fact that the Lakers have a better structured team than they have in years. It's been like 4 years since they've had a team where you had legit starter players, maybe above average starters. Your starting lineup looks pretty decent. I think Lonzo Ball, KCP, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, and Brook Lopez is a pretty solid starting five. I think that KCP and Brook Lopez, those guys, they're going to add a lot to this team. Brook Lopez is a guy that can score the ball really well. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope can shoot, he can defend, and these guys are going to fit, I think, with this Lakers team. And you look at the players on this team, Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench as like a sixth man type guy. They got that guy Kyle Kuzma, who they drafted this year as well. The guy looks like a steal from day one. And with this group, I just feel like this team is going to take a big step next year. I know that I've said before, I'm not that high on Lonzo Ball. No, I don't think he's going to be like a bad player, but I just don't see him being a star in the NBA. I don't think he has the scoring ability to dominate a game, period. But this doesn't mean that he can't have a positive impact on his team, on a basketball game. I think that the Lakers are going to be better with a pure point guard like him, but I'm not sure what more he's going to give us than a guy like Ricky Rubio, to be honest. And no shade at Ricky Rubio. Don't be like, oh, he's comparing him to Rubio. Rubio's trash. No, Rubio's actually a decent point guard. He's the guy that can pass well, rebound well, play a little defense, but he just can't really score. I know Lonzo's probably going to be a better scorer than Rubio, but that's the type of player I envision him as. Maybe he's going to be a little better than Rubio, but I don't know about much more than that. Either way, I do think that that's a player that can help a team like this, because when you got guys like Ingram and Randle and Lopez and KCP and basically everybody that's trying to get a bucket, you need a guy like Lonzo Ball who's going to get them the ball and make their scoring easier, and that's exactly what he's going to do. When it comes to the playoffs this year, I'm going to be honest, I didn't have them making the playoffs in my predictions video, and I still don't think they're going to make it, but I think they're going to get kind of close. I think that they might be within, if they play to their best potential, they could be within 5 games of the 8th seed. And if they played really good, obviously they could get that 8th seed somehow. But for me, it's just this year, it would be so hard to get into the playoffs this year in the West. The West is stupid stacked this year, even more so than last year because of all these stars that went from the East to the West. If the Lakers were in the East, I would have them in the playoffs at like a 7 or 8 seed. I think they're a better team than the Charlotte Hornets probably. I don't know, maybe. But it's like I can talk about the Lakers with the Hornets and someone like that. Just because I think that they have upgraded their team to the point where they can be talked about with some of these on the bubble in the East playoff teams, or maybe like 6th or 5th or 6th. I think that like a 10th seed in the West could be like a 6th seed in the East. So if the Lakers are a 10th seed, I think they would make the playoffs in the East. But they just have to play this competition in the West all the time, so maybe their record wouldn't be as good. But I see the potential. The defense is going to be a struggle, a huge struggle for the Lakers. If anything, that's going to be the Achilles heel of this team, because I know this team is going to put up a ton of points. They're going to shoot a ton of threes. Lonzo Ball is going to get the ball out in transition, and he's going to get guys shots. And I think that this team will score a ton of points, but will they be able to stop anybody? Do they have any shutdown defenders on their team? Not really. Yes, I think KCP is a pretty decent defensive player, but when you play LeBron and the Cavs, realistically, who is going to stop LeBron James? Who is going to stop Kevin Durant? Who's going to stop Kawhi Leonard? I don't know if anybody is. And that's the problem. And not just like stopping star players, but the problem with this team is the defense is going to be a huge issue. So if they can somehow patch that up and not be like bottom 10 in the league in defense, which I would be shocked if they weren't, this team could make the playoffs, because I think their offense will be in the upper half of the league, maybe even a top 10 offense. It's possible they could have that like 9th or 10th best offense. I think this team can score pretty well. Maybe not top, maybe like 12 or 13, because like this team should be getting buckets. There's no excuse for them not to. These guys should be getting better as the years go on. They look decent in their, I know they lost their preseason game against Minnesota, but come on, Minnesota is going to be, they're probably going to be dope this year. The Lakers, we'll see. But I do, in general, even if they don't make the playoffs, it's still a big step for them, because they've been so far down in the standings for the last few years. It's like you're making these little jumps. And if you don't make the playoffs, you get another guy in the draft next year to add to your collection of talent, young talent. And I think that you wait for the guys you have, like Lonzo and Brandon Ingram and company, to get better as well, because I think that Lonzo and Brandon Ingram and guys like Randall, Kyle Kuzma, they're not done getting good. Obviously, they're going to get better. They're going to be pretty good in a few years, and this team should be in the playoffs in at most 2 years. I think I'll give them 2 years, and they should be a lock for the playoffs if things go right. So that's going to do it for this video. What do you guys think about the Lakers? What are their chances to get into the playoffs this year? I know LeVar Ball says they're making the playoffs, but in this tough Western Conference, I don't know. I'm not going to, act like they don't have a lot of great teams in front of them to beat. So we'll see about that. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Leave a comment about what you think about this down below. And yeah, that's it. Peace.